Mr. Chairman and Vice Chairman Udall, thank you for the opportunity to present these bills before the committee, and I appreciate the support that we have had. As you have mentioned, Mr. Chairman, we've seen some process here. We got some feedback from Department of Justice. We got feedback from others. We've sought to incorporate that. I think we're in a really good place with both of these bills. I've had so many conversations with so many about the issue of murdered, missing Indigenous women and trafficked women. Tammy Giroux of the Alaska Native Women's Resource Center, Lynn Hooch of the Yupik Women's Coalition, Joanne Horn of the Amonic Women's Shelter, shared stories that just break your heart. And I know that these are not stories that come uniquely to me. I know far too many of us have heard the issues that women in many communities are facing, the need for resources, the need for law enforcement coordination, the need to respond to these cases. I've talked with Vivian Corthius and Victor Joseph. They have really led the way in Alaska, highlighting that tribal courts and self-governance are critical to providing for our safe communities, and more that we can be doing there. And there's so many that are doing, it's not just the talking, their actions are bringing this very difficult issue to light. There is a woman by the name of Amber Webb who has created a pretty powerful symbol to honor the women that have been impacted. She has sketched the faces of more than 200 missing and murdered Indigenous women from across North America. And she has placed them on a giant white kuspuk. And a kuspuk is a traditional Yupik garment worn by Yupik women. But she's doing this to symbolize the adaptability and the strength of Native women. But this giant kuspuk, again, the faces across it, your eyes are drawn to the diversity. There's older women, there's younger women. In the center is the sketch, the face of Ashley Johnson Barr, who was a 10-year-old girl from Kotzebue who was kidnapped and killed. On the left sleeve of the kuspuk is a sketch of Sophie Sergey, who was killed in 1993. She was in the dorm at a University of Alaska Fairbanks dorm. Her case was cold for 25 years, and it's just been in this past year that the alleged killer has been brought forward. But I think we recognize that the faces on these kuspuk represent far, far, far too many lives lost. So I really appreciate working with Senator Cortez Masto on Savanna's Act when we reintroduced this last year. It was a real honor to work with our friend on this committee, Senator Heitkamp, who had first introduced it. But Savanna's Act and the Not Invisible Act, as you've pointed out, Mr. Chairman, really are trying to bring the issue of murdered and missing Indians to the attention of the nation. When you think about what happens when someone goes missing, just missing, unfortunately, we know that far too many vulnerable Native women may leave their village, go to visit a friend, come to the city. The statistics are shocking in terms of how quickly they are swept into a net that is devastating. Within 24 hours of being in town, they can be caught up in a trafficking operation without even knowing. And far too often then what happens is they go missing, they're trafficked, they're murdered. And so the loss that we have, the unspeakable loss that families feel, the invisibility that so many families have felt, the frustration that they're being let down by a system that just has not failed, that has failed them and has not protected them. So acknowledging not only the memory of Savanna LaFontaine Graywind, for whom Savanna's Act is named after, but there's so many who have been murdered, trafficked. What we've got to do, we've got to deal with the jurisdictional loopholes that criminals knowingly exploit. We have to improve the coordination among law enforcement, At all levels, we have to provide the resources, and they have to be significant. So I appreciate working with so many of our colleagues on this. I do hope that we're able to advance this quickly through the Senate and be able to get it signed into law.